everybody and welcome back. As always, my name is Addie and this is the Knits by AJ knitting podcast and this is episode 67. I just wanted to say a massive welcome to all of the new subscribers that I have suddenly picked up since my last video. It's lovely to have you here. Thank you so much for choosing to stick around and watch me waffle on about my knitting. And also thank you so much to my regular subscribers who've been here for a while. Thank you so much for once again coming back to watch me waffle along about my knitting. I have got one finished object and 4 whips to go through this week. I feel like I have done a lot of knitting, but I don't really know where I managed to fit all that knitting in because the past couple of weeks have been quite chaotic. The last video that I put up was actually the first day of my daughter's summer holidays, and so since then there's just been a lot of chaos going on. I feel like the routine change from sort of the first, like from the end of term to then suddenly there not being any school or any ballet or any swimming or anything like that is always a bit kind of odd to kind of get through. There's a lot of sort of like, oh, what time is it? What day it is? What day is it? That kind of thing. And yeah, I think the routine change for my daughter as well is a bit hit and miss sometimes. But anyway, without further waffle, let's get into some knitting. So first off, I will start off with my finished objects, which is also what I'm wearing. So this is the Amelia top, and this is a pattern by Iris of HIRIS Makes. I've just realised my notes are just really not in an easy place for me to see. Oh, there we go. So yeah, I used a 5mm and a 4.5mm to knit this, and I used Drops Cotton Merino in the colours off-white and mustard. And yeah, last time I showed this, I had one sleeve and the neckband and most of the body done, and now obviously I have finished this. It's not all that easy for me to stand up in this room. I will try, but I will also film some B-roll so that you can kind of see what this looks like a little bit better. So yeah, here it is. I've also kind of got it tucked into these jeans, and I'm filming after lunch and, you know, ate too much for lunch, so yeah. Feeling the bloat today, but yeah, this is what this looks like. It's got a little bit more kind of cling than I had initially intended it to, but I think that's because it's tucked into these jeans. If I sort of wear it out, then it sort of clings a little bit less, but then also looks a bit funny over my belt. But yeah, it's an all-over stockinette set in sleeve with a contiguous construction t-shirt with a little bit of negative ease across the upper bust and then some positive ease over the bust. The shaping in this is just top notch. I would thoroughly recommend it if you're looking for a really basic t-shirt and want a set in sleeve but don't really want to be picking up too many stitches, because this is definitely a really simple way to get, well, sort of simple but kind of complicated way to get a set in sleeve without having to pick up stitches. Like this, the instructions that Iris has written are really, really clear, but this was the first pattern that I did a contiguous set in sleeve, and it was a bit sort of like, what on earth am I doing when I did it the first time? But this is the second time I've knit this, and so it wasn't all that confusing this time. But yeah, just trust the process. Her instructions are really, really clear, and yeah, it really works out in the end because I absolutely love the fit of this. So I changed this up from the pattern ever so slightly. In my stripes, I decided to not do the stripe pattern that was recommended in the pattern. So I did 16 rounds of the main colour and then 6 rounds of the contrast colour. And then I've done my neckband in the contrast, my ribbing on the arms in the main colour, and then the ribbing on the bottom is actually in the contrast colour because it ended up that to get the length that I wanted, I needed to knit the whole 16 rounds of the main colour, and then I could just do the ribbing in the contrast colour, so I didn't have just a massive band of the off-white before finishing off. So yeah, it worked out quite nicely in the end. I think last time I said that I was going to do a mid-project block, and I did not do that. So I finished the second sleeve, and then I kind of just got excited to get it off my needles because I only had a very small amount of the body left. I think I had maybe, was it sort of like that much left of the body? So not really a huge amount left of knitting at all when you consider that this is quite a loose gauged t-shirt. I wouldn't actually say, no, I wouldn't say it's loose gauge. It's like, what is it, 18 stitches or something like that? But yeah, it's DK, so it's not like it's a fingering weight garment, so it's going to take a long time to get that last bit of body done. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to finish it. And actually it worked out fine. This didn't grow all that much in blocking, and yeah, it still fits pretty much the same as it did before I blocked it. So I'd say that the yarn isn't really a massive grower, perhaps thanks to the merino content, because this is a 50% superwash merino, 50% cotton. So yeah, it worked out really nicely. I have a fair amount of this yarn left over. This was the yarn that I thought I had more of one colour, but I actually had more of the other, so I had to order more yarn. So I have, I think, 2 balls of each, or a ball and a half of each left over, because I ended up using 216 grams, and roughly that ends up as like 2.5 balls of the main colour and 1 and a quarter, I would say, balls of the contrast colour to knit the size 1 with this stripe pattern. So not really a massive yarn guzzler in the end either. But overall, yeah, I'm very, very happy with the fit. The yarn feels really, really nice to wear. It's a bit warm because we're in the middle of this storm, and it's kind of like it's a summer storm, so it's warm, but it's also very, very wet. It's now humid, which kind of makes me feel a little bit too hot in this. But yeah, it doesn't really, it's not like hot and itchy, but also it's not stiff like some cottons can be. It's still very light and flowy. So yeah, it's a very nice cotton merino blend. And it wasn't sort of very sort of harsh on your hands when you knit with it. Sometimes I find things with like a cotton and wool blend can be a little bit harsh to knit with and not really feel very elastic, but this did, so that was quite nice as well. I definitely use it again. This and the, I think it's the HIRIS Lana Cotton 212 that I used for my first Lily top are my favourite sort of cotton and wool blends, but that's fingering weight and this is a DK, so yeah, I definitely use this again. I'm also really glad that I did the larger stripes. I think they fit into my wardrobe just a little bit better than a thinner stripe. I don't tend to wear thin stripes very often, and I think the same with my Lakes pullover. I like that that's got like a thicker sort of main colour stripe and then a thinner contrast colour stripe. So I think this is kind of a stripe pattern that I'll continue to use. It's sort of almost like my Charlie pullover, where it's got like the 4 smaller stripes just on the body. I like that more than like a continuous small stripe. So yeah, I think this is going to fit into my wardrobe really, really well. I'm finding it very easy to style. I mean, this is the first day I've worn it, but I literally just chucked it on with my jeans halfway through the day. And yeah, I think it's just going to be a really easy fit into my wardrobe. And I think I'd definitely do this again. Maybe in different colours though, because how many yellow and white t-shirts do you really need in your wardrobe? So I cast this on July the 3rd and I cast it off on July the 31st. So it took me a grand total of 29 days to knit. And cost-wise, the pattern costs £7. And for 5 balls of the Drops Cotton Merino, I paid £17.75. So the grand total for this pattern was £24.55, which is not too shabby, to be perfectly honest. It was very affordable yarn. I think it was about £3.50 per ball, but it's often on sale, especially this time of year. So I think you could probably get it for cheaper elsewhere. I obviously bought some of mine, was it last year? And then bought some more of it this year. But all in all, £24.55 for a t-shirt isn't too shabby. And actually, I didn't pay for the pattern. I should probably say that. So my cost would only be £17.75 for the yarn, because I got this pattern because I test knitted it last October, and I knit my first version in Cardiff Cashmere. So yeah, actually, I guess my price for this pattern would be £17.75. But if you were to knit this, it would be £24.55. So yeah, that was a fairly long-winded way of saying that. So this is my Amelia top. I'm very, very happy with it. I think it's going to be a true staple in my wardrobe. I think it's going to be easy to layer with jumpers and cardigans when it's a bit cooler, but also really easy to just chuck on with my dungarees and my jeans and my trousers and my shorts. All of the bottom halves of my outfits. But yeah, so that is my Amelia top. And that is my only finished object for this week. The rest is all whips. So I guess let's get into those. So I would usually do these in the order that I cast them on, but I have written my notes a bit higgledy-piggledy this week, so we're just going to have whatever I wrote about first. So it's been a couple of weeks where my brain has not been fully working, and so we're lucky that we've got any notes at all this week. Okay, so my first whip is my thermal stitch socks, and this is not a official pattern. I am using Ravelry notes by Ash of Smash Knits, who recently put out a really good vlog of the Australian Sheep and Wool Festival, or is it Bendigo? I'm not sure what they actually call it, but yeah, she put out a really good vlog, which I watched recently. And to be honest, I love all of her YouTube videos. I love her colour choices and everything. So yeah, if you're not already subscribed, then I would definitely recommend hopping over there and going checking out her videos. But yeah, so I'm using her Ravelry notes from a pair of thermal stitch socks that she knit to knit my own pair. And I'm using Dinah's Home of Crafts Merino Cashmere Silk in the colour Pure Gold, which is absolutely beautiful. I'd definitely like to make like a jumper or something out of this. I think it would be a really lovely piece. It's so soft, and it's like almost like slippery because of the silk. But yeah, it's a really lovely yarn to work with. So I'm using a 2mm and a 2.25mm to knit these, and I'm knitting mine on 64 stitches. And I have finished my first sock. So this is the first sock. Last week I was here where my little Lego piece is, and I have since added in the heel. So I was umming and ahhing over whether or not I wanted to do a heel flap and gusset or a short row heel, and I went for the short row heel in the end. So yeah, I used the short row heel instructions from the Charming Colourwork Socks book by Stone Knits. I've used that a couple of times in other socks. It works really well. It fits my heel nicely, and I don't get any of those like kind of awkward holes that you can often get with a short row heel. So yeah, I would definitely recommend, if you are looking for a short row heel pattern, any of the short row heels in that book would fit in perfectly well with most sock stitch counts, I think. But yeah, so I did 30 rounds of 2x2 rib for the cuff, and then I've done 20 pattern repeats for the leg, and then I've obviously done the short row heel, and then I've done just a stockinette base of foot, and then I've just done the thermal stitch pattern on the top, and I did 19 pattern repeats and then just a wedge toe for the foot. And these are so squishy. They're such lovely socks. I think they're going to be really lovely, cozy, warm autumn socks to wear in my boots in the winter and in the autumn. And the colour is just screaming fallen leaves. And yeah, they're just giving me all of the autumn vibes. And look how lovely this pattern is once it's stretched out. I think they're going to look really lovely once they're blocked. And I think they're going to be a really nice kind of like slouchier sock. They're not as slouchy as I maybe would have wanted them to, but to be honest, I got to the point where I was sort of like, I think I might run out of yarn if I carry on. I've not weighed my ball, but you know when it starts to look like you're almost at halfway point of your cake of yarn? So yeah, I decided that I was just going to stop the leg where I was and put the heel in and finish them off. So yeah, I have also cast on sock 2, and I've done the ribbing. So I did the ribbing on a 2mm needle and then changed to a 2.25 for the actual stitch pattern of the sock, just because I always find that if I'm just knitting ribbing, then it gets a little bit sloppy and it's a little bit too loose at the top of the sock, and then my socks like slide down a lot more if I do it on a 2.25mm. So I always go down to a 2mm to kind of like make my ribbing nice and neat, and also make sure that my socks stay up properly. So yeah, 30 rounds again of the 2x2 rib, and then I've swapped in my 2.25mm needle, and I've done 1.5 pattern repeats, possibly. I think I've done one too many. Hang on a minute. I think I've gone... Oh. Silly me. I've started on the... Oh no, wait, have I? Oh. So I have started on the wrong row of the pattern repeat. Instead of doing the 2 knits, I've gone straight into the purl stitches, I think. Or maybe I haven't. I don't know, I'll have to double check that and maybe pull it back if it is wrong, but I think it's fine. I've also accidentally done 3 rows of the 2x2 rib on this side, so I'll need to pull that back anyway. I was knitting these in the car earlier whilst we were out going to run errands, and so yeah, it was inevitable there was going to be some kind of wrong row in there somewhere. But yeah, I have started sock 2, so I'm going to be getting going on that as well. But yeah, I really enjoyed knitting these. I thought that I was going to get fed up with the texture pattern halfway through, but actually once you got to the foot and then it's only on the top needle and the bottom needle is stockinette, it was still really quick to run through. And because it's only a 4-row pattern repeat, they were just really easy to just kind of do whilst I was watching TV in the evenings and everything, and also whilst we were out sort of driving to and from wherever we were going. It was nice to just have these in my handbag so that I could work on them. And yeah, so I'm very much looking forward to getting sock 2 done as well. So hopefully they won't be sort of lingering on my needles for too long. So I cast these on July the 18th, and so they have currently been on my needles for 18 days, and hopefully sock 2 won't take me all that long, and I will be able to have a nice new pair of squishy socks for whenever it's cool enough to wear them. But yes, okay, so that was my thermal stitch socks, and my next whip is my Lakes Stripe tee. Oh dear, it's just utter chaos down here. I forget what it's like to do the podcast in here, because when I'm filming downstairs, I sit on the ottoman of our sofa and then I have all of my whips like laid out behind me, whereas in here they're all on the floor and it just looks like utter chaos. But you know, we move. So yeah, this is my Lake Stripe tee by OZETTA, but it's not a tee. I'm doing mine as like a fingering weight jumper. So I'm using a 3.25 and a 2.75mm needle to knit this, which is one size down from the pattern. And I'm using Woolly Knit Merino 4-ply in the colour Mulhaken, I say this wrong every time and I forget to look it up, but Mulhaken Oatmeal, which is this gorgeous mild oatmeal colour, which is, this cake is looking so sad now. I did a centre pull and so it's just all squishy and kind of falling apart in the middle. And then my contrast colour is this green, which is called Medulla Green, which is getting kind of blown out by the window. So yeah, it's a lovely kind of muted sage green. And like I say, every single time I mention this, I love this green. I want to make more things with it. It's a lovely, lovely green. So yeah, I am knitting a size 3 to get an oversized fit. I would usually knit a size 1 to fit my bust measurement. But yeah, I wanted a long sleeve fingering weight jumper because I need more of them in my life, because I want to wear my jumpers before it's DK jumper weight. Before it's time for the DK jumpers, I want to be in jumpers. So since last week, I have added on the neckband, and I used the pickup rate recommended in the neckband and pretty much knit this to pattern, apart from the fact that I changed from doing 1x1 half twisted rib to just standard 1x1 rib to give me a lovely stretchy collar. But also I don't like knitting half twisted rib, and I thought that the half twisted rib would look great on a t-shirt, but it didn't really fit the vibe that I was going for with this jumper. So I just did a standard 1x1 rib and I think it looks lovely. And I also elongated it. So the pattern recommends like a 3cm sort of single collar. Sorry, something was going on outside. And I decided I wanted a like big chunky double folded collar on this. So I knit 4.5 centimeters of the 1x1 rib, and then I changed to my contrast color and I knit 4 rounds of ribbing in that. And then I did another 4.5 centimeters of 1x1 rib in the main color, and then I tacked it down, like I'd bound off and picked up a stitch from the first round so that I could tack it down. And I did that with, I think it was like a 4 or 4.5 millimeter needle, so that it was really stretchy. And the amount of stretch on this neckband is crazy. I absolutely love this technique for doing my neckbands. I think it makes them really stretchy, but they also like hold their shape really nicely. So yeah, definitely recommend if you are looking for a way to get super stretchy neckbands. I think I went through how I did it in my wave sweater vlog. If you were looking for a little bit of a tutorial, I can maybe film a tutorial of it if anybody is interested, but I think there are a couple out there anyway. But yeah, anyway, I did the neckband, and then since then I have just been working away on the body. So I was here before. So I've done, what is that, 3 contrast colour stripes and 2 main colour. I'm about halfway through another main colour stripe, and I have now knit to the length recommended in the pattern. But because the pattern is made to be a t-shirt, I think it's slightly more cropped than I would want for like a full length jumper. So I tried this on yesterday, which is why it's on tubing. And I think I want to add, I want to finish this main colour stripe that I'm on, and then do another contrast and do another half of a main colour stripe before I add the ribbing. I also want to do a 5 centimeter 1x1 rib with the contrast bind off that I've done to match the neckband as well, instead of doing the shorter ribbing that's recommended in the pattern. So just so it matches up with the neckband, and just so it's a little bit more kind of jumper vibes than a t-shirt. And then I would have usually picked up and done the sleeves by now, so that I just had the body left to do. But I'm waiting on the update for this pattern for the long sleeve version. I did see that there was an update on OZETTA's Instagram, maybe yesterday, saying that it's going to be available in the next couple of weeks. So hopefully by the time I have finished the body and worked on some of my other whips as well, I'll be able to just follow the instructions in the pattern for adding on the long sleeves. But other than that, this is just, it just feels like it's flying off my needles. Like, I always remember knitting like the fingering weight jumpers for my husband and them taking so long to knit the body. But I don't know if it's just the gauge of this, or if it's the stripes, or if it's the fact that I'm knitting it for myself. So it's maybe, it's a bit smaller. I did try this on my husband to see if he would want a version and if I could just knit the size 3 like I'm knitting for myself. But actually I think he needs either a size 4 or a size 5. But yeah, it's just flying off my needles. I feel like I'm going to be done with it in no time. And I'm actually kind of sad about that, because it's been a really enjoyable pattern to knit. It's very, very simple, very kind of meditative. All of the sort of complicated bits are done at the shoulders, so there's not really a huge amount of needing to like check back in the pattern and everything whilst you're doing the body, which is great. It's just easy meditative knitting. And the stripes obviously like are very, what is it that people say, potato chippy. Like I just thought, oh, I'll just get to the next one. Oh, I'll just get to the next one, which is great. And like I say, I'm really, really enjoying it. The yarn, like I've said before, is an absolute delight to work with. I really, really like it. I'll definitely be using the Woolly Knit Merino again. And it's very affordable as well. And the fact that it comes in 200-gram cakes means that I haven't actually had to break, like I haven't like come to the end of my yarn and had to like sew in any ends that haven't been just from where I've broken the yarn because of what the pattern said, or because I've like come to the end of a stripe, which has been very nice to not kind of have to keep changing skeins all the time. Even to add on the collar, I just used the other end of this skein, and I'd already finished a stripe, so this one wasn't connected. So I've not actually got a break in the body that I wouldn't necessarily need to have just because I wanted to add on the collar. So yeah, having a nice 200-gram cake has been very, very nice instead of having multiple balls of yarn to deal with. So yeah, I've not really got that much left of the body, to be honest. I think I should be able to fly through this fairly quickly. And hopefully, like I say, that update for the sleeves should come fairly quickly. I vaguely remember from sort of having a brief look through the pattern that I've got another lot of short rows that I need to do for the sleeve cap, but that's fairly simple to deal with. I love doing German short rows, and I'm glad that German short rows are used in this pattern, because any other kind of short row, I just don't seem to be able to like get it to click in my head. Whereas German short rows, I'm like, yeah, fine, I'll do that. But any other short row, I'm like, I have to look it up and I have to watch a tutorial, and then I have to then slow it down and do it with the tutorial so that I know what I'm doing. And yeah, it's just a bit of a faff. So if I can do German short rows, I'm happy. So yes, more German short rows to go on the sleeve when I eventually get there and that update is out, but not a huge amount left to do on this. And I'm very much looking forward to it. We kind of have had a couple of like cooler days, like definitely cooler evenings when I've been out walking the dogs. And I've been thinking, oh, I really wish I'd finished my lakes already so that I can put it on and wear it on this walk. But unfortunately I haven't. So I'm desperate to get this ready to go for those evening walks, especially where it's been really windy. But yeah, I just want to have this finished, but also I don't want to finish it because it is very enjoyable to knit. But hopefully, like I say, I will have enough of this left over that I can knit in this yarn on another project when I eventually clear off my needles. So I cast this on the 5th of July. And so it's currently been on my needles for 31 days. And hopefully that update comes out fairly soon so I don't have to have it on my needles for too much longer, and then I can get to wearing it. Okay, my camera overheated, so apologies if everything is in slightly different places. But yeah, it's just warm. So my next whip is a long-standing returning whip. So this is my northeasterly blanket, and this was my advent project from last year, from 2024. And this is a pattern by SKEINANIGANS, I believe. And I've been using my Skein in the Stitch 2024 advent, which was themed on Alice in Wonderland. And it's in her natural 4-ply base, which is 100% non-superwash merino. So I've gone through multiple kind of phases with this, of like wanting to get it off my needles and then not wanting to look at it at all, and then wanting to get it off my needles again. And at the moment, I've kind of decided that my advent for 2025 has been ordered. One of them's arrived actually. I got the Spin and Leather 24 stripe self-striping sock advent, which is in this bag that I won't show very much of. And yeah, that arrived really, really swiftly, actually. I think I ordered it back in April or maybe May, and it arrived a couple of months ago. So yeah, one of them's already arrived. I have also ordered it's the 12-day advent from Loom. Is it just Loom? Yeah, I think it's just Loom. And a couple of the the 100-gram skeins that go with it to make a garment this December. So I kind of decided that since I've already ordered one, like my big advent, and also another advent has arrived, I need to get this advent off the needles. And so instead of casting on a second garment, which is what I would usually do since I finished my Amelia top, and have 2 garments on the go, I'm going to use this as my second garment and try and get it off the needles. I know there's a couple of like advents of Christmas past or like summer advent knit-alongs going on, but I just wanted to do this really casually, just get it off my needles, not put any pressure on myself, and just kind of work through it through the rest of the summer before I then move on to autumn knits, because I don't really have any more summery things that I want to cast on yet, but I do want to get going on some autumn knitwear that's kind of hanging about over here. But I do really want to get this done because I think it's going to be so lovely to snuggle up on the sofa under a hand knit blanket, if we can eventually teach Biggs to not put things in his mouth. He just absolutely loves fabric. Like, this is his favourite thing in the world. But I think it's because this yarn smells pretty sheepy, whereas this doesn't smell sheepy at all. So he's kind of been leaving this alone when I've kind of left it on the sofa. So hopefully it's going to survive as a blanket downstairs. If not, we'll just have to put it upstairs where he can't get to it. But yeah, so I think the last time I did have a marker in here from the last time I showed this. Oh, here it is. So this purple marker down here is where I was last time. So this is really not helping with this window. Right. So yeah, this marker is where I was last time. And I am now up here. So that's 1, 2, I'm in the third colour after this one that I was on last time I showed this. So this blanket is knit modularly. So you knit a stripe and then you join as you go with the next stripe. And so not modularly, it's a join as you go blanket. And I have done it so that I started at one end and I did 12 days of the Advent running through this way. Oh no, wait, running through this way. And then I did the next 12 going the other way. And then I went back and did days 24 to 13 going the other way. And then I did days 12 to 1 going back the other way. And now I'm back to working days 1 to 12 going this way. And then I will turn and come back. And then I have one more pass through of the Advent to go. So I'll end up with 8 stripes. And I've talked about this before, but I'm pretty sure that I will run out of yarn before I get to finishing the 4th stripe, because I didn't manage my yarn particularly well, and I think I maybe did like a couple of extra rows extra on the first one, and maybe I should have made it, instead of making them 26 garter bumps, I should have made them like 20 to make sure that I had enough yarn. But I didn't think that far ahead when I was knitting that back in December. So I did also order an extra skein of yarn from Skein in the Stitch, which is also her natural 4-ply base in the colour Forest Shadows, to finish off the blanket with. And then I might be able to get some of a border done in this as well. So yeah, not all hope is lost. And to be honest, I'm not really all that fussed. It doesn't really matter to me. It will just be one corner of the blanket has got that green in it, which doesn't really bother me. I might even order some undyed from Skein in the Stitch to do an I-cord border around this. But like I say, I haven't really thought about like the finishings of this yet, because I just want to get it done. So yeah, I'm using a 3mm needle to knit this. I'm knitting it in just 4-ply held single. So it's a fairly hefty project. And obviously I'm going to be using the whole Advent. I'm in day 4 now. Yeah, I'm in day 4 now. And actually the days are not taking as long as I thought they did. I thought that it took me much longer to knit through all of the sort of 26 garter bumps that I need to get through each colour. I thought it took much longer, but actually it's not taking that long at all. And so hopefully I can kind of just get through a couple of colours a night, and then eventually this will be off the needles and it will be done. I feel like it'll be a massive milestone thing once I get to the 24th colour this time round, and then I've only got to do each colour once, and then I can eventually start phasing out the Advent. Because this is a fade, to make sure that I actually keep all of the colours in the right order and everything, I'm still keeping them in their original packaging. Now this is beautiful, but this means that this project is not at all portable, because I have to carry this around. I mean, I could go and put them in there all like individual Ziploc bags and everything, but that takes up pretty much as much space as this does anyway. So this is something I can only really knit when I'm at home, but not the end of the world. I have plenty of other portable projects. And like I say, I'm just determined to get this off the needles now, because I feel like it's been long enough. So yeah, it's very much like a lap blanket. It's very long, but it's not going to be particularly wide. So it's going to go over both me and my husband whilst we're sat on the sofa together, and cover our laps. But yeah, I think it's going to be really gorgeous once it's finished. I just need to get myself into gear and get it finished. So this has been on my needles. I cast it on December the 1st, 2024. And so this has been on my needles for 246 days. And I want to have this off my needles before December the 1st. So it's going to pop in every now and then on the podcast. I'm not going to say I'm going to do an update every single couple of weeks. I might just do an update when I've got to like the end of a strip or something, but this is going to have to be a main project now alongside my Lakes stripe pullover, just to try and get it done because I need to get this off the needles. So yeah, that was whip number 3. Whip number 4 is kind of an accumulation of like an ongoing project. So if you've been here for a while, you might know that every now and then I have a bit of a mad idea that involves Christmas. And this year I thought, oh, my printer has just suddenly started working. We'll just wait for that to finish. Okay, are you done? Cool. So yeah, this year I thought, oh, I know, I'll make little ornaments to put in my daughter's advent calendar. So she has a, like, not a felt, but she has like a fabric advent calendar that I hang on the wall every year, and usually I put a little chocolate in there, and then on the last day I'll put a little gift in there. And she also gets a chocolate advent calendar from my in-laws, and I've also got her a Lego advent calendar this year. Hopefully she's not watching this, so she doesn't know that. But yeah, so she has a varying amount of advent calendars, and I thought I want to kind of lessen the amount of chocolate and everything, because obviously there's a lot of chocolate going around still, and make it a little bit of more of like a tradition thing instead of just a, oh, there's chocolate in this kind of thing. And so I thought I'll just make a little knitted ornament to put in each of the little pockets. There's only 24 tiny ornaments. It won't take me that long. But of course it does take much longer than I thought it did. So I kind of started this now on the premise that I could maybe get one done a week, and then it doesn't feel like such a mammoth task. And although I'd still be working on it in December, I'd have enough to kind of get through the first couple of weeks before I really needed to like make one to put in that night. So yeah, I have kind of gotten carried away, and now I have more than I needed to be able to make one a week. So I'm a little bit ahead of myself, which is quite nice, because I'm sure there'll be a point where I kind of get fed up with this and don't want to make one, or I can't decide on a pattern or something. So I have also been taking this as an opportunity to use up all of my scraps. So I'm using all of my DK and fingering weight scraps. I'm holding my fingering weight scraps double, and I'm using a 3mm needle to knit all of these. And I'm kind of just picking and choosing from patterns that I found on Ravelry and making one from them. I'm trying to use mostly free patterns so that this doesn't become a massive like costly project. So I will then curate a list. Maybe I'll do a video on it like as a whole thing on its own in December or something, and go through like all of the patterns I've used and like curate a proper list of them as well, so that if you guys are looking for any ornaments, patterns or anything, then that'll be there for you. But I will go through them once I've got a couple on the podcast as well. So anyway, I've made 6 of these so far. I kind of got a little bit carried away, but yeah, if I'm gonna have to make 24, then I could kind of like follow my want to knit on them when I have it. So this is the little group of them that I have so far. So I've got this little guy. He is from the only paid pattern that I've got so far. So this is a little golden retriever puppy ornament that I thought would be fun, because obviously we got a golden retriever this year. I'm also going to make one for our first dog, Ruffles, who is a Cocker Spaniel. So I'll make one that looks like him as well. This is the Puppy Christmas Ornaments pattern by Amy Gaines. And actually this one is seamed. But I think the next one I knit out of this pattern, I'll just knit in the round, because it'll be very easy to kind of alter it to be knit in the round, and then it will take out a job that I didn't really enjoy of seaming it. Like there's a seam here down the side, because it's kind of knit flat, and then you like fold it up and stuff it. And then the ears and nose and tail are knit separately, which I don't really mind, to be honest. But I probably could just pick up stitches and then just knit them on without having to sew them on. So I might try that with the next one. So yeah, this is the Puppy Christmas Ornaments pattern. And then I've got a Christmas Caramel by PETITEKNIT. This one I used some leftover drops air. Is it drops air? And then I've just embroidered around the stripes just to make them a little bit, make them stand out a little bit more because the contrast was a little bit low. So yeah, there's that one. And that's a free pattern. What else have I got? So this one is the Love You Forever little heart by TANIS LAVELLEE. I hope I'm saying that right. And I used some leftover HIRIS Lana Cotton 212 from my first Lily top, and then I've just embroidered my daughter's initial on there and some sparkly embroidery floss. So yeah, there's that one. This was really fun to work up actually. It's all done in the round, and it was just really nice, simple, easy project. And I think it doesn't really necessarily have to be Christmas for that one. So yeah, you could make that as like a little key ring or something. And then I've got the Snowy Mountain Ornament by, who was this by? EKATERINA VOROBEVA? No, VOROBEVA. Apologies if I have said that wrong. So yeah, that's this one. I used leftovers from my, what's it called? The name has completely escaped me. The colourwork jumper that I did, that I test knit last year for Rebecca from Journey Through Yarn. I can't remember what it is, but this is also escaping me. What is it? BC Garn Loch Lomond on the bottom, and then I think the top is some woolly knit British wool, and then I've just done some of that gold embroidery thread around the bottom as well. So that is the Snowy Mountains ornament. And then what else have I got? Oh, this one is one of my favorites. I'm going to make another one of these for our big tree as well. So this is a cute salty pretzel by JULITA BIALKOWSKA. I think I'm saying that right. I might not be. But this was just so much fun. It's essentially just a tube and then you just fold it up. But this is a free pattern as well. And then I've just embroidered some little salt bits on there. But yeah, I want to make another one of these for our big tree. This one will go on my daughter's tree. Like all of these ornaments, she'll like be able to pick them out of her advent calendar and then put them on her little tree that she has in her bedroom. Oh, this one was another paid pattern, but there are discount codes to get it for either 50% off or for free. And this is the Merry Mini Tree by Travelling Knits. And then I've just added some little multicoloured bells that I had hanging about. But this was great fun as well. And I think there's loads of ways that you can customise this with like different embellishments, even knit it in different colours and everything. So yeah, that was a really good fun one. I think I'll knit a couple of these for her and like put different bits on them, beads, embroidery, that kind of thing. So yeah, that is the 6 that I have done so far. So I have a fair few to go still, but I'm really enjoying making these. They are very, very quick knits. And actually it's just nice to be able to use up my scraps instead of just having them hanging about in my yarn storage up here. And it will be nice to have something for her to open every day and be able to reuse them and like update bits of them, add in new ones as we go and that kind of thing in her advent calendar. But I'm also not putting a huge amount of pressure on myself to get these done. Like if I don't get all of them done, then I can put other things in the advent calendar and then I can top it up next year, that kind of thing. But yeah, I'm very, very much enjoying making these and hopefully she loves them just as much as I do when she gets to open them every day in December. I also realised that some people might be thinking, oh my goodness, you're an idiot. Why are you constantly going on about Christmas in August? But yeah, I'm starting to prep this early because I know I'll get very, very stressed towards the end of the year. So I'm making them now. But yeah, so that is my last whip. And it does bring me quite nicely into acquisitions. So I don't have that much in the way of beads and things to add to all of those ornaments that I'm making. So we popped into Hobbycraft, which is like a big box craft store. I think it like an equivalent is like Spotlight in Australia, or is it Michael's since Joanne's closed in the US. But anyway, yeah, they sell craft stuff. So I picked up some different kinds of beads. So I got these gold ones, and I also got these silver ones to add some bits of sparkle to my ornaments. And then I also picked up some felt because I saw that PETITEKNIT Hooray had done these like Pop-Tart ones, ornaments last year, I believe, and she used felt to add like the icing to that. So I picked up a couple of different kind of neutral felt because I also thought I might want to make like some little gingerbread men or something out of it to add to her ornaments so that they're not all knitted, and I can maybe sew some if I want to. So I grabbed 2 different kinds of beige and a white from Hobbycraft as well. And these were really cheap. These were like 60p a sheet, and you get a nice sort of pretty much A4 rectangle. So yeah, grabbed some of those. And then I also bought some yarn. So I was looking for some West Yorkshire spinners because I know that they stock that, and I wanted some white sock yarn, but they didn't have any. So I then ended up picking up some different sock yarn as well. So this is the Knitcraft, which is Hobbycraft's like in-house brand sock yarn. It's called the Perfect Pair, and it's a 75% wool, 25% nylon, 400 meters per 100 grams. And this one is in pastel stripe, and this one is in rust stripe. So my husband has requested a pair of socks out of this one, so I will be knitting those up for him. And then this one, I'm going to knit myself up some socks, but I'm pretty sure I'll be able to get a pair for myself out of this as well. So yeah, I grabbed those. They were like £4.50 a ball, so very, very cheap. It feels very much like the West Yorkshire Spinners signature 4-ply yarn. So hopefully it kind of holds up as well. So these are both self-striping, so hopefully I can get some nice stripy socks out of those. So that was everything I picked up in Hobbycraft today. And then I also had a delivery of this wonderful skein of yarn from Loom, who I spoke about earlier because I've ordered her advent calendar. And this is her bookworm sock set on her simple sock base, which is 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon, 120 grams, 510 meters. And I love this. I cannot wait to knit this up into some beautiful, probably like textured socks. I think it would look really, really lovely in a pair of textured socks even. And this green of this mini is just so rich. I absolutely love it. I think these colours go so well together. I love all the speckling, and it's just made me really excited for the advent calendar. It's called like the Lost Woods or something. I'll put the name up here. But yeah, I'm very, very excited to knit with this. So I need to find a really nice pattern to knit this up into. So that is everything acquisition wise. I do have some plans for the week ahead. So obviously I suppose one more acquisition that I have is that I did purchase the Cuff Club from LAVELLEE for this year, and I am going to start the cabled cuff option in that, and I'm going to use my last sock set that I have in stash. Well, the last sock set I had before I bought that sock set from Loom. But yeah, this was the last sock set that I had in my stash. This is from the Lonely Knitter. I got this last year, and it was from her Saturday Nights at the Movies, Halloween 2024 colourway, and it's based on the Addams Family, and it's called Unhappy Darling. And so I'm going to use the mini for the cabled cuff, and then I'll probably do the rest of the sock in the main colour. But I think this is just the perfect sock set for that. Just a nice vibrant cuff, and then this lovely like deep variegated purple for the rest of the sock. So those are my plans going forward. And also, you know, to work on all of my other whips because I don't have enough at the moment, apparently. So I think that's everything from me this week, knitting wise. As always, it would be lovely to know what you guys have been working on whilst you've been watching, or what you're thinking of casting on next. And if you have liked this video, please do feel free to give it a like. If you're new here and you want to stick around, then please do consider subscribing, and I will catch up with you all in a couple of weeks with some more progress. Happy knitting!